When I go onto location to do a shoot, I have two options. I can bring the studio lighting out, or I can bring speed lights out. And whenever possible, I defer to the studio lighting. I do that because in the studio, I'm working with generators, and the light shaping tools that I've invested in for the studio, I just can take right out into the field. I can take right into a location, fit them onto the D1s. D1s plug into the wall, run them off a backpack, ultra portable, but the same light that I can use in the studio. It just vastly improves my creative options. I like to draw upon my experience using the light shaping tools to become a transparent light source in the image. So whether it's incorporating a 1 light setup, a 2 light setup, a 3 light setup, a 6 light setup. In my opinion, the mark of a good photographer is one that can take the ambient lighting, match that with the strobes that you bring on location, or in the studio in some cases, so that it looks natural. You want the final picture to look natural. Using Profoto's light shaping tools allows me to craft an image, look at what my subject matter is, decide how I want it lit beforehand, choose the right tool for that to create what I'm trying to achieve. The range of tools that they have, from hard light to soft light shaping tools from large to small, affords me that ability. For the first setup, I wanted to call attention to the shape of her face. I therefore chose a beauty dish gridded in order to create a dramatic effect with her bone structure. The other lights that were used in the first shot were a fill light, which was a strip box with a grid. Again, to control the amount of light that I had on her without having spill. I used a hair light, the same light shaping tool that we used for the fill light, and that one was used a little bit differently in order to create a nice rim effect on her hair as well as onto her shoulder and the back of her arm. The last one that I used was just a very simple gridded D1, and it was just really to pop some light on one of the background elements, which happened to be some pillows on the shelf. Knowing architectural photography and knowing how designers of architecture light their architecture helped me develop the lighting setup for today's shot. The shot with the cracked glass, I incorporated 3 lights. The first light was a beauty dish. I'll call it the main light or the key light. It was angled down at her, above her head level. The second light was a 1x3 strip box with a grid, and that was off her shoulder. And the third one was another 1x3 below the beauty dish, and I used that as a fill for her midsection. These days, everyone's a photographer. When I'm hired for a project, I'm going to come to the table with the professional know-how and tools to do the job right. I can bring speed lights or I could bring studio strobes. I'm going to choose studio strobes every time. I don't want to show up with the same lights that the client owns. They have to know that they hired a professional.